what I'm about to present to you it's so complicated, yet so simple. It's mind-boggling. The most difficult part that I've always had, is getting what's in my mind out to you. So I'm going to need your help. And what I need you to do is I need you to go deep into your consciousness, and I need you to follow along with the words that I say. What I need you to do is begin by taking a deep breath, and I want you to go deep into your consciousness. Don't worry, there is nothing spooky here. But what I want you to do is use your imagination. I want you to go so deep into your consciousness that we forget about the external world. You forget that you're in a human vessel, and your human body will wipe that idea away. The environment that you're in, we are going to make that disappear. Right now, we are only in consciousness. With that said, now, with everything eliminated, deep into your consciousness, I want you to understand and imagine you are the only consciousness in existence. What's special is that you know everything. I want you to imagine that you know the answers to every single question that can ever be asked. You know everything. I want you to imagine that you know the history to every single human being, every single solid object that has ever existed in time, in the past, and way beyond into the future. You know the history of every single point in existence throughout any possible realms of reality that could ever possibly be created. That is what's in your consciousness. I want you to imagine this right now. This idea is so hard to comprehend that what's even more harder to comprehend is that this consciousness is timeless. It's so large, yet it fits into nothing. It does not have any surroundings, and it is filled with so much information that it can yet go on forever. This idea is very hard to comprehend, but I want you to keep imagining now. Because the only thing that is missing within this consciousness of all information is the experience of all the things that I just mentioned. To know the history of every single thing, every man-made object, every speck of dust that crossed every single galaxy in existence. To know the history from birth until death of every single thing, and every single possibility in any imaginable realm or dimension. Is hard to comprehend. To be able to experience that, though, is the point of existence. If you were a single source of consciousness and you knew every single thing, you're not alone. The consciousness at this level has no body. It has no friends. It doesn't long for another conversation with another consciousness. It is everything. It is all things. But what it does is it creates a reality to which it can experience someone like yourself in an environment with other people that you know. Things and objects, whether it be natural or man-made. All these things come from the source of information. The idea is to experience every single thing that's ever possibly can be experienced. So on one hand, the realm of information is experiencing life through your experience. And on the other hand, it's doing the exact same thing with any object that you come in contact with, or any person, or any other living creature, any tree, any wisp of rain. It is all there to be experienced, even from the point of view of a flower looking up as you walk by or trample on it. All that is an experience. And that is hard to comprehend. What's even greater, that's hard to comprehend, is that all this is being done all at once. Every single possible experience is all happening all at the same time. It's like that simply because in the realm of the conscious of all things, of all information, there is no time. There is no time and there is no place. There is no particular pinpoint. You cannot pinpoint where it exists. It's within and it's without, all at once. All existence, all creation, and all experience is all happening within a flash, what may seem like an instant. There is no time. But in order for you to experience your realm of reality, there is time. That is because in order to create an experience, you have to create the environment. You actually have to create the reality to which an experience is going to happen. And it happens like this. I want you to go now deep into your consciousness and continue to imagine within your consciousness a void of darkness. Here there is nothing. Not a thought, not a whisper, not a sound, nothing. In order to create the reality, you have to have rules for it to be guided by. These rules are important, and these rules apply to all things. The rule begins like this. We need to create a blueprint for which all this is going to happen. And the first thing that we need to have within this blueprint is a sense of environment. But within this void, this darkness, we have nothing. Looking around is pointless. There is no sense of direction, to which this is the first thing that must be created, a sense of direction. We must have a sense of up, down, left, right, front, and back. So this is what we are going to create. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to imagine a point. So now I want you to imagine a dot. A glowing dot, a colored dot, any dot you like. This dot is within this void. Contained in this dot is all information, because we must understand that this dot is the imagination of the consciousness. This is an illusion from the consciousness in order to create the dot. So the dot is only emitting the information that it needs to emit to be part of the environment. And in this case, right now, a dot. And that's all it's emitting, is just that information. And that is all. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to create a virtual point somewhere else. This point doesn't exist, but it's within the environment to which the point that you created must travel through. This is a path to go from here to there. That is all. The information that is being emitted from this point is to go from here to there. And then once we release it within this environment, we now have another important rule. Measurement of motion, to which this is time. Time is only a measurement of motion for that dot. And that's important to remember as well. For in creation, it is filled with many dots. Think of these dots like pixels on a computer, or points within a drawing on a piece of paper. As you zoom in and you get an idea that within the paper there is nothing but little tiny little dots, creating this wonderful image in the book. So now that we get the idea of reality, there is another rule that is absolutely important. It is contrast. Contrast allows us to experience the environment. These are the on and off signals of light and dark. Imagine if every single thing in existence was one color, let's say black. You wouldn't be able to see nothing. You wouldn't be able to see the interaction of any of the dots that I've created. You wouldn't be able to see them in motion. You need contrast. You need white. Color is just an expanded way for us to see contrast in a much more beautiful way. Color and light are simply waves of information. All things in existence are waves. The dots in motion that carry the information to move, to be in motion, are following along a pattern to which create the environment that you're in. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the human body, the human experience, experiencing your reality that you're in. It's quite simple, really. You have 5 senses. With your 5 senses, seeing, feeling, hearing, smelling, tasting, you experience your environment. Take one of those away, you can still experience your environment. Take all of those away, you have no experience. And Life is an experience. So therefore, all these senses are picking up waves of information. The things that you see are waves of color. The things that you hear are waves of sound. Everything that's in your environment are waves. Your cells, your atoms, what the atoms are made of, these are all in tune with waves of information. The brain is interpreting all this. And while the brain is interpreting all this, we understand our brain to be made up of all of this as well. Isn't that intriguing? The very thing that's interpreting all this is made up of all this as well. It's your consciousness that's really understanding and interpreting what the environment is. You see, the source of all information doesn't need to have a brain. It doesn't need to breathe. It doesn't need to hear. The consciousness of all things doesn't behave like human beings. It doesn't behave like our own mind. It doesn't need to survive. It doesn't need to do anything in order to survive. It doesn't have a conquest to eat or drink. Its own survival is its own experience in acknowledging itself. Without the experience of all these things, even the consciousness of all things cease to exist. So the fact that there is an illusion of all this, of all experience, created by the source itself, the source itself not only exists, but it also doesn't exist. And that is also hard to comprehend. That it doesn't exist within its own existence, within a time that doesn't exist, within an infinite space that is absolutely nowhere. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what I have presented to you. I will continue my presentation next as I explain creation.